Okay, after you have drawn everything, your work reflects like you've spent a significant amount of time on it. You're going to flip it over, and again, it needs to be done in ink as well, so you can erase all of those pencil markings. You're going to flip it over and mark it at 4 1/4, this long way, because the paper is 8 1/2 inches wide. So mark it at 4 1/4. You're going to mark it in 2 different places. And then what you'll do is you're going to draw a line connecting those 2 dashes. It's important to mark it in 2 places so that you get an accurate cut. You want it to be exactly in half. So grab your X-Acto knife. I'm just grabbing mine real quick. And you are going to now cut along that line. Be careful not to cut yourself, and make sure you are on top of a cutting mat. Okay, so I cut it exactly in half. Now what you're going to do is take this side and tape it over to this side. When you tape it together, the tutorial that we initially saw, she used one gigantic long piece of tape. I personally think it's better to do little pieces at a time. You really want to make sure this is really accurately taped together. Very flush. If it's sloppy, it will end up looking sloppy, and your objects could be slightly off in your pattern repeat, which will be kind of an eyesore. It'll be distracting. Okay, the next step is then to turn it this direction. And again, we're going to mark it exactly in half. Kind of limited on space here, so forgive me, I'm going to angle this a little bit. This is 11 inches long, so I'm going to mark it at 5 1/2. Again, this has to be very accurate. And again at 5 1/2. And then I'm going to connect those 2 little dashes that I made. Okay, so I drew that line. I just draw the line just in case I move around or something. But then ultimately what you'll do is you'll cut it with your X-Acto. A little bit of pressure goes a long way. These blades are brand new and they're very sharp, so take it easy. And you just glide it along the ruler to cut. Okay, I need to cut, looks like through that tape. Did not push hard enough. There we go. Okay, so now you're going to take what's on top and tape it to the bottom. Okay. Again, I just kind of rotate things just because it's a little easier, and I am in my office and have just a tiny amount of demo space in here. So thanks for bearing with my moving around. Okay, so after this, you will likely end up with some negative space that is really added up to, you know, pretty substantial voids. So what you can do is then draw additional things. Once you draw those, you need to ink them. And again, they cannot ever go off the edge of the paper, ever. Okay? These are now off the edge, but that's because you cut it and reassembled it. But when you add additionals, they cannot go off the edge. After you have drawn and inked it, you then see me and I will make your photocopies. You actually never color on this. This is just your original that I will use to make copies. You color on those copies. Good luck.